Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's. What is this? This is our daily brief recap. Dun dun dun. Let's just see whether the YouTube page is going to kick in here. What is this? This is and it kicked in. Way to go, YouTube. Welcome back to the frivolity. Of course, Thursdays is a really cool day at T.RI. Because it is the baby powder report. Thursday, 5th of March here today. And we had an awesome presentation by Julian. We were debating whether to bring him on this daily brief recap just to give you a summary of what he's seeing and doing in the markets. But I think actually we're contemplating actually maybe even floating Julian himself doing a nice little market overview brief of what he's been seeing and doing in the markets of late. So lots of exciting content coming down the road potentially from T.RI. And while I appreciate that most of you on YouTube are just sort of seeing that T.RI is one-dimensional because you only hear the Beamish speaking. Really, I would argue the real value of T.RI, the real selling feature of this site, this entity called T.RI is our community. And what I really love about Julian is, and he even said it today in his presentation, that over the past few years he's really matured. He's really got to know what works individually for him. He's journaling. Woohoo! Tell you, all you people out in YouTube land, you want to get better at trading. The secret is journaling and just holding yourself to account. Did you actually do what you said you were going to do? And if this isn't working, how do we address what's going wrong here? Is it a shitty setup? Maybe a bad time frame you're looking at? Are we willing to look in the mirror, address mistakes and problems, and take the steps required to fix those problems? So, as I said, the site got a really, really great report from Julian today. And of course, he's found what works for him individually. And he's just tearing the market apart right now. So, way to go, Julian. The report that I like to do for you guys off YouTube, of course, we generally just stick to the nice, simple message. I don't want to try and overcomplicate the message for you guys. So, in a nutshell, U.S. dollar index, of course, with that big rate cut coming from the Fed, it's trying to find its footing. It's interesting how we're coming up now to an existing downtrend line. Do we find support here? You can see we are below reload zones. And as I sort of said in videos of late to you guys, as long as I keep seeing higher highs and higher lows, then technically my thesis of US dollar bull stays intact. So we're coming up to an interesting level here. We're going to really keep a close eye on how the market behaves around here. And what I guess I'm a little worried about right now is we might actually be creating like a megaphone on the US dollar. We talk about this lots in crypto, and usually it's a bit more chaotic price action that generates megaphones. But you can kind of see if we go boobity boo, and if we take out these lows, we might even start doing things like boobity boo, something like that. So, if we do lose these lows and start moving lower, where do I expect support to come in? I'm thinking like this megaphone range, which sucks because, we might get a nice little washout here, which breaks that very strong uptrend, but then the market quickly, violently rallies right back up top. I mean, this is a mess. We know that V tops and V bottoms are not sustainable over time. So this V top at some point will want to be tested. This V bottom will want to be tested, and really that's what's going on right now. And you look around the world, and frankly speaking, I'm very disappointed in the lack of leadership from everybody, every direction. And of course, 2020. Saturn Pluto cross, Jupiter Saturn cross coming up here in the fall. And really, this kind of price action and the way markets are acting completely schizophrenic. I kind of told everybody publicly, I don't know whether it's really actually in the public's best interest to be involved too much in the stock market for the next year or two. Let the blow off top happen, let the recession happen, and then when we start Wing out on the weekly price charts, that's when we can start to expect to see some sort of trends and sort of calm return to the market. But I don't see any of that right now. And this U.S. dollar chart is, to a certain degree, it is a testament to that. I was thinking, recently I'd like to hunt euro shorts, but nothing's really developed there yet. So remember, I was watching these head and shoulders, but you can see we're rallying back up to test the high, so nothing ever really developed here yet. And as we make higher highs, I will just continue to draw my, in this case, 50% retracement target levels. And just got to slowly wait for some sort of setup to come in here, but it's not today, that's for sure. Risk on, risk off. I put tweets out today basically talking about how I really do believe that there's a lot of similarities between previous Trump dumps and this Trump dump. And, the tweets that I've been putting out basically are like, this isn't going to turn around in a day. This is probably going to take some time to develop. And, you look at the stock market right now, and, we were even talking about it in the lounge and through the daily brief. There's just not a hell of a lot going on in the stock market right now. I did go and buy a little double bottom today, but it's not, there's no traction to it at all in stocks. And ironically enough, where actually the buys, I think, are in the stock market? It's actually in cryptocurrency names, which we'll talk about in a bit. But they're the only ones that are actually putting in bottoms right now, which is kind of funny. And of course, we talked lots about crypto and how I kind of like crypto now. Where the hell's my damn sheet? Here we are. There's just nothing for me to do in the stock market here. This is just a mess, and we got to wait for W's, or maybe we A, B, C, D and continuation pattern our way lower. Right now, we're kind of stuck in no man's land, and very dangerous to start making big bets at these levels here. And I think I've told you recently, I'm losing my interest in being a commodity bull. The last oil stock that I have on the books is threatening to break down, and if it loses its lows, then that's it. I'm basically out of all my oil. So, Julian was talking a little bit about oil in his presentation today, and sort of validating, reconfirming that it sure looks like oil wants to head down into the $30 neighborhood. And I like to use the big oil stocks as leading indicators. Remember, I took a stab on Halliburton. I got busted out, and Halliburton is just not showing any signs whatsoever that it's even the slightest bit interested in bottoming here. So, oil just doesn't look like a good place to have your money working right now, people. Sucks. I do like natural gas, and I've talked to you guys about that before, and I think that's why my one remaining oil stock hasn't completely broken down, is because it does have a lot of natural gas exposure. But nonetheless, energy looks really, really bad in here. And usually, of course, the S&P's down a big chunk. I mean, what's the headline number going to be? Right now, the Dow's only down 897 points. Get used to it, people. Oh, God, these numbers are crazy. NASDAQ down up, nice friendly 235 points. I still, believe it or not, think the market's going to go to new highs here, but, only time will tell and follow the chalk marks. There certainly aren't any buy setups here. And then on the flip side, of course, if risk on is looking like crap, what do you think risk off is going to look like? Bonds rallying back up to the top end of their recent trading range. Tried to put in a little bit of an inside bar reversal here, but you can see they busted that high. So I don't think it's a good idea to be calling tops here just yet. We are well beyond that bot setup kind of idea I was thinking on the resolution of the trend line. But, this market is very, very schizophrenic right now. Could this thing pop up through the top here? No problem. If anything, if I do want to think about shorting bonds again, I gotta wait for some sort of M to come in here, so there's nothing for me to do here at all. Was pleased to hear Julian posting trade setups as they're working away in the gold market, and he said he actually had one of his biggest profitable days here today. And what I really liked out of Julian, which I thought was so cool, was, and it's the hallmark of a real professional trader, is I think I told you in the free videos coming out of the weekend, he was just like, I gotta buy, 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 I gotta buy. And then maybe this is a reactionary move. Was there divergence down here? Whatever. What really pleased me immensely was he said his trading model, his trading system using RSI gave him another buy signal. And as I said, the hallmark of a really good trader is actually the trader who can add to positions as they're working away and not like constantly thinking about, okay, where do I get out? Where do I get out? Where do I get out? So I was exceedingly pleased to hear that basically his trading plan said that he had to add to his position, then let the position work and give it some breathing room. And he had his stops down below here on the positions. And then as the market spits up another W buy signal, this issues another buy. And so by time we're starting to get up into here, and I think he was saying that things like chaos levels were suggesting to him that maybe we're starting to get up into areas where you might want to let some go. I don't know if it's off of this particular chart. But he said on this morning, and I like the idea too, we're coming up against the old highs that he started ringing the register here on all these longs that he bought on the way up. So very, very pleased with Julian's maturation as a trader. And he's now actually talking and acting like a lot of the guys that I used to work with in prop firms and on trading floors. So proud of Julian. He's really, really come a long, long way. So congrats. And as I said, I think Julian's feeling pretty good about himself on his recent trading. And of course, if you want to follow his trading signals, what we found at T.RI is that there are some people that want to simply come in and just, what's your setup? Okay, I can replicate that and I'm going to go off and do it my own. And then almost like create like subscription services just copying the crap that we do. Julian has put a lot of time and effort into building his setup and his trading plan, so he's not really interested in actually teaching you, the public, how to trade his setup because he just wants to keep it proprietary. Which every trader's going to go through that evolutionary process. Once you get a setup that you really like, you want to just keep it to yourself, and that's perfectly fine. The great part about it is he's basically full disclosure, basically showing all of his trades and where he's entering and exiting. And the people on the site, of course, they're making money on trading. So way to go, Julian. So proud of him. Really, really good job, Julian. If you are watching this later on, big shout out to you. I think as I've sort of spoken about recently, I'm turning more and more bullish of crypto and less bullish, especially of the commodity sector and investing in oil and paper and lumber and potash and all that kind of stuff. I'm less interested in that kind of market, and I'm really thinking about where is the next sort of generational growth coming. And I thought it was really interesting. Here's a good anecdote. Stock market, Dow's down 900 points, right? So in the public head and the talking media, that's all they're going to talk about. And yet the irony of it all, and of course we'll get to it in a moment when we talk about the corn in particular, but you notice that the crypto stocks actually just backed up into really nice little buy windows. Look at this riot. I mean, it just gaps violently higher this morning. I think I've told you that I really like HUD mining as an investment idea for even like, RRSP and registered accounts in Canada. There are various different names. I thought it was hilarious. Somebody had asked me on the free YouTube link video page to just take a look at their little crypto stock that's traded on the venture exchange here in Canada. Same shit, different pile. I mean, hopefully you all see exactly the same things going on here. It doesn't matter whether it's this, you know, Canadian, I think it's the Calgary Stock Exchange, like total venture cap exchange, or whether it be, you know, more senior exchanges. I see real opportunity here in these crypto stocks. I don't know. Call me crazy. And of course, I don't really care if you buy any of the ideas that we talk about on the site, but I have my money in these names. I've already got a free position on Riot, so I'm not too concerned about that. But I've actually been adding, and I threw in another bid on Hut because I want it. Gimme, 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 gimme. And of course, the bastards aren't giving me a fill here today. But anyway, so, you know, are there areas of the stock market that I actually like? Ironically enough, the crypto related stocks look fantastic. Why? Well, you know, I had put out a tweet about this yesterday in that, you know, you've heard me talking. It's kind of funny, all you guys on YouTube page and stuff. Shit good, tastes great, you know, all that kind of talk. But, you know, when I see a chart that looks like that, that's not a bear market. That, ironically enough, is, to me, and especially when you see things like OBV, money is coming into this space. It's not going out, it's coming in. So is it really likely that the crypto market's going to shit the bed and dump like much further while you see charts that look like this? And there's a whole bunch of them across the crypto space that look like this. Money is coming into the market here, not going out. So I kind of put this kind of message out that it's really hard for me to believe that the coin can really dump much lower if you're going to have a whole bunch of crypto traders that are going to be sitting on fat profits. You know, their account balances are going up. And interestingly enough, what often happens here is the old expression, success breeds success. So if you start getting a few of these all start popping, there's a whole bunch of them that are doing this. And then that's going to bring more activity and more interest, yada, yada, yada. And I've often found that this happens, is that the corn maybe is sort of pointing down, or maybe it's sideways for a bit, and then it looks over its shoulder and it sees all these little coins all popping up, and it's like, hey, what the fuck? What's going on here? Hey, I'm the guy driving the bus here. And it's like, all right, enough down. We're going to go back up now. So, you know, the battle of this range, man, it was one hell of a battle. There's no doubt about that in my eyes. What I think sort of happened here is we've created, you know, often trading ranges create fractal type behavior. And this is a pretty classic example of that fractal called the head and shoulders. And you can see sort of neckline up against these highs. The head is sort of the worst sell-off point. And you get these dips like shoulder. And then I think I've even said to you before, sometimes the right-hand shoulder doesn't have to dip nearly as hard. So, you know, for the lower time frame players, I think we got some half-decent little long setups that fired last night. I mean, you can see the W action that came in here. Interesting chaos levels painting 9,500. And notice, you know, just a simple 50% retracement of this range is that 9,500. Very normal, very healthy, not really out of the ordinary, right? 50% roll, 50% roll. So if you were trading lower time frame setups, I don't really have a problem with that. It's a half decent looking little bull run. You know, when I talk to you guys in the public, I try to keep the conversation to these higher time frame setups and higher time frame analysis, and sort of the way that I'm looking at this. I think we've talked to you this before. We don't even really know whether this is a bull or a bear until 38.2s have been resolved. That's at 9,200 here on Stamp. And of course, if we change that to good old Mr. Gann 50% rolls, you can see that's 94.61. Put out messages, tweets to the effect that we had actually a fairly clear bull bear battle lines drawn in the market. And you notice that after that rally off of the lows there a couple days ago, we kind of just went sideways. And you could make the argument that this is an inside bar of this. So if we lost that low, that's what we like to call a bear rammy signal. That would have been a continuation signal lower. Interesting, yesterday we just carved out a doji total indecision by the market, right? That's what doji means. And I might argue now with the bullish resolution of the doji that we're probably going like AB, CD. Not a huge upside objective, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if this sort of stalls out up in this area. Probably the stall out is going to be nothing more than probably like a moving average tag. I think we showed on the video here today. Yeah, you can see. So 13 EMA is trying to be accepted. If we close above there, great. Means we're back into moving average sandwich, but you can see 30 SMA is going to act as resistance. You can see top of value. There's a bit of a notch up there. There's 50% rule and the original market structure top. And, you know, interestingly enough, from a trader's perspective, this is a horrible place to be hunting shorts if you are bearish. What you really want to do is let the market bounce back into reload short zones. So my hunch is we probably actually start seeing, if this, you know, really is a bear, we're going to start seeing the bears really step up and defend their shorts way up here. You know, that's $10,000. So we were pointing lower, heading down, heading down, heading down. We hit fairly significant technical objective, good old 50% rule. We took, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sessions, which is about, you know, pretty normal to try and figure out a bottom here. And I think we're now going through the process of, you know, almost like the stock market. You could almost look at this as, it's not really, this would be the dead cat bounce. So there's a bit of consolidation, a bit of follow through. The only problem here is off the higher time frames. Is this really enough for us to justify a trade? It's starting, right? So, you know, if we look at our RSI studies, what do we, and actually this would be interesting to see if the public sort of clues into this. What do we say you're supposed to be thinking if we see the third RSI trend line, which to me kind of looks, maybe we'll go like this. I don't even know where it is. Maybe like even there to there kind of thing. It's not really very... no, I'd actually probably do it like there to there. So something like that. So, you know, we start with the top one. Well, actually, that's not what I wanted to do. Top. We like to make that blue. And then we do another one. This is a tough one. Maybe it's there to there. I'm not quite sure. You know, this is why this is kind of actually why I moved away from RSI, because you know, it is definitely open to subjectivity. But nonetheless, you can see original M stopped the bull, and then we started M out the second time through 50 line. Bear's taking over. What are we supposed to think if we see this third one come in and then a break? Right? We're supposed to be thinking that the bear on this first W, kind of like up top here, the bear has been officially put on pause. And, you know, looking at our price action, I think that makes sense, right? The bear has been put on pause. It's not really necessarily, to me, it's not really necessarily a new buy signal. It's just that whatever this move was down here has exhausted itself. And, you know, through the daily brief, you know, Julian likes to use RSI very closely. And we basically came to the same conclusion that, you know, basically our 50 line is somewhere in there. I think that's right. And that a second W here will now issue our big honkin' buy signal. I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like, but maybe something like that. Right? Our next W, and if it can come through the 50 line, then that means, oh boy, it's going to be one hell of a signal. Right now, I would just simply say the bear has been put on pause. Well, I think on balance that makes sense. So that's sort of what I'm thinking with corn. And, you know, this is good because, ironically enough, this is in essence saying that the market's attention is not on selling Bitcoins. And if anything, we're in kind of like a news vacuum right now. So it's just going through the process of just feeling out this trading range up top here. I was exceedingly pleased to see that both Julian, managing T.RI portfolios, and then Shane and Andrew and I working a fun little Deribit options exchange. The consensus was, and the team on both fronts, we basically closed out our short proxies and our hedges on this message from the market that the bear has been put on pause. The cool part about this too is, those people that do watch these videos, if you're a fan of this guy named Da Vinci, who is an old student of ours years ago. I hope he's doing okay these days. But he used to love to obsessively follow W's in RSI and W's in OBV simultaneously, what we like to call Davos. And of course, he would be taking this W and looking for a 2-to-1. Off of that. So on balance, I think that makes sense. It's probably a little bit early for me to be actually getting too excited on the bull side, but at the same time too, like I said, if we go down to those 4 hours, you can see the inverted head and shoulders. You can see the cute little W that fired last night. I wouldn't have a problem if somebody said, hey, Brian, I took this W. I'm long from 88 and I'm looking for 95 as a price objective. Seems perfectly realistic to me. So that's sort of what's going on in the corn. Of course, on all these other fun cryptocurrencies, and like I said, I'm seeing more and more kind of WE type action. I don't think this is actually a place to be thinking too bearishly. I don't know whether we're ready for face rip moon shots. You're going to get rich, buy your Lambos overnight. But this is not a market that I think actually is in your best interest to aggressively short. And, I put out tweets this morning to the effect, first thing this morning right out of the gate, this thing put in this big, wide W. And, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, do you really want to be getting too bearish of ideas down here? Is that really in your best interest as a trader or an investor? So, I don't know what this is ultimately going to look like, but I thought it was really cool to see that, hey, here come the W's. So who knows where this thing's going to finish on the day. This is tricks. I mean, who knows what it looks like on Binance. But I was exceedingly pleased to see this morning. That high there was 27.15, and we traded to 27.19 this morning on Mr. Romano's coin. So, I would make the argument that this shit's a buy, not a sell. It's just a question of where you get in. Do you want to work some stink bids? Join me down at the bottom end of the range. Maybe work a bid at the gap. Sure. You want to just say, no, Brian, you know what? Let's just keep this simple. I'm just going to buy this W and I'm going to look for rallies up top here into the spring, summer this year. Totally fine. But I don't think these are the names that you want to be selling aggressive here. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. And as I said, money is coming in here. So at some point, Bitcoin's going to be like, what the fuck, man? This is ridiculous. And in very typical Bitcoin fashion, it got the message that, hey, we're not going down anymore. So get your act together. And sure enough, income bottoms. So, all right. I don't know whether that was of any help to you today. I sure hope you got some value out of that information. As I said, super jazzed about the crypto sector. Having a lot of fun trading the poop coins. I think altcoins and crypto, it's got opportunity is now here written all over it. And frankly speaking, the broader stock market, I don't know, man. I think we just got to leave it alone now. So there you go. Well, have yourself a great day. All the best, and bye for now.